You can do that. Oh.
No, that's only 60. That's what I
Alright. It was very cool. Yesterday I arrived at the seminary expecting to do my class. There were loads of people there and everyone was like, we're so excited. We're so excited. We've been looking forward to this day for a long time. And I was like, what? And they were like, it's Discovery Day. You're doing the intro and 7 wonders. And I was like, great.
Nice.
When
was this?
Yesterday.
We're just opening Discovery now at Aish.
Oh, it doesn't let me do it.
At the Aish
No,
Discovery.
you have to go to WhatsApp and click the camera icon. And then,
You can't do it from camera, regular camera?
I don't know, maybe.
It works.
Okay, fine. We'll do it later. We don't need
No,
to.
it works.
So there.
Ah, gosh. I got kicked in the ribs today quite hard.
Oh, sorry.
By whom?
By this guy who we were it was kickboxing Tuesday, but we were sparring and he said we were just tapping and he just got over
Oh, it's connected?
and he did a spinning kick bounce. I defended it quite well actually, bang. And then I was like, because I was holding my kicks, I was holding myself back. And then he did that and I was like, right. And then it's an Issa Deraisa to take revenge.
Can I take this
So
moment
I
to make a
didn't.
relevant announcement?
Yeah.
There's a self-defense class every day at 6-ish downstairs in the
AM?
6 p.m. Sorry, 6 p.m. in the banquet hall
Every day?
every day starting yesterday.
What?
His name is I don't know his name. Yesterday was like 4 people, but I think it's
I can take you too.
what? It's good. It's free. It's free. Yeah, it's free. It's good. It's like mixed martial arts. Like very special guy. His mentor's big.
Where you been at?
Yes.
There?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going through this very quickly because we did it yesterday. I'm going through this very quickly because we did it yesterday. I'm going through this very quickly because we did it yesterday. So here we go. 7 extraordinary predictions. Very quickly, let's go.
I don't think it's recorded.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
Oh, it is?
So, I have a text that I know for sure was written at least 2,500 years ago. It's an amazing thing. And this text has 7 extraordinary predictions. That already alerts me. It's like, oh, that's interesting because human beings don't make extraordinary predictions. Do you know why not? Because they're not going to come true and you're going to look stupid and they're going to burn your book. So already I'm like, that's very interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the predictions. The first prediction, it says, is in Genesis. It says that it's an eternal covenant, which means our people are going to be around forever. They're Jewish people. You're going to be getting this PowerPoint. That's why I'm doing it. Everyone's going to be getting the PowerPoint so you can use it in your presentation. But you also have to be able to, I sometimes only have 10 minutes to speak to someone and they say, prove that God wrote the Torah. I can do this on a piece of paper. I just write prediction number 1, this. Blah, blah, blah. So you also have to be able to do it like as quick as you can. I did it once in 2 minutes for Instagram. The whole 7 months is 2 minutes for Instagram. Anyway. So, whoever wrote the Torah says, our people, we're living in the Middle East 2,500 years ago. I actually often play it out. I say, okay, listen, I'm your leader, I'm Moshe Dov Ber, and I'm making up a religion. I want to found this religion and I'm going to write a text for our religion. That makes sense? There might be other texts flying around there, so I'm just going to mix them all together, but I'm going to make the authoritative text that's going to be the founding text of our religion for the rest of time. What am I going to put in my book? I'm going to say things like don't kill, don't steal. That makes sense. Black boxes, head and arm, weird, but I'll do it. But I'm going to put stuff in my book. But how about 7 predictions? Unlikely that a human being would. But let's look at the predictions and play them out. Number 1, we're going to be around forever. Is that a prediction I'd like to make? Definitely a prediction I'd like to make. It's a very good thing to say. And everyone feels like, oh wow, that's amazing. I want to be part of this group because we're going to be around forever. It's a beautiful prediction. Problem with the prediction is it's very, very, very unlikely to happen. Because nations don't stay around for that long, especially in this area. And we just see that's true because there are no Canaanites and Hittites and Girgasites and there's no one else. We're, in fact, out of all the nations living in that area at that time, we're the only ones who did survive. So our survival is extraordinary. Other people have said our survival is extraordinary. For example, Mark Twain. Mark Twain says he's made a marvelous fight in this world, in all ages, done so with his hands behind you. The Egyptians, Babylonian, Persian roads filled the planet of sound and planets faded away. And faded dreams are passed away. The Greeks, the Romans followed, made a vast noise, and they're gone. The Jews saw them, beat them all, and now what he always was, exhibiting they're going to know remedy his age, no one can touch. So basically, what's the secret of his immortality? So Mark Twain's looking at the Jewish people. Blaise Pascal also says the survival of the Jewish people isn't normal. Many other people, Berdyaev says, according to materialistic and positive criterion, these people ought to long ago perish. There's no way that a small nation living in the Middle East, having gone through what we went through, could possibly survive nowadays. Very many people are very shocked at Jewish survival. Here's one question that often comes up. The Egyptians rose and passed away. Are there no Egyptians anymore?
Not the same
Not
one.
the same.
There are Egyptians.
Not
There's a whole
the
country of
genetic,
Egypt.
like, same.
But they're not the same. They don't have the
They're
same
descendants of
culture.
it, but
They don't believe the same thing. They don't do anything. But be aware of that question and don't freak out when it comes up. You'll say, what do you mean that no one else from those times is around anymore? Of course they're Egyptians and they're Greeks and they're all the people. I actually I went to Athens on my way to South Africa in Pesach, and I made a picture of the Acropolis in Athens. And I said, look, they're done. Like, the Jewish people, we've survived. And someone went, this is bad history. The Greeks are still there. And I said, yeah, but they're not trying to rebuild the Acropolis and worship like Athena there.
You can just say like empires, like their empires came
The
up.
empires, but to say that they completely disappeared isn't true.
Yeah.
Someone will come back at you and say, hold on, they didn't do it. What do you mean they completely disappeared? There are Egyptians, there are Greeks.
What do you define as Jews?
So what do you say?
So
Jews
family?
are, yes, 100%. And then often in the class we say that. What is a Jew? How do you define, what is a Jew?
It's not a nation.
Is it a religion? No. Most Jews don't believe in God and Torah. Is it a nation? No. Most Jews don't speak Hebrew, haven't been to Israel. Is it a culture? No. Yemenite Jews and English Jews are already. Is it a race? No, you've got Chinese Jews. So what are we? Literally a family. Your great grandfather is my great grandfather.
So how do we explain converts?
They joined the family. We adopted them, but then they get stopped. So just to put that out there, people are going to say, but I bevorn that. Do you know what bevorning means? It's a very important word.
What is it?
Bevorning it's really a Gemara term, which is I say your question before your question. I say, and you might say this, but I say this. Just a separate thing. We did do this in the 3 o'clock class. We're having another 3 o'clock class. But the best example ever of bevorning, we shouldn't be sharing this, is there's a movie called 8 Mile with Eminem. And it's basically a rap-off movie. And it's a rap competition. It's all your mama's so fat and dad's so this and your mama. Anyway, and it's got all the side story and he lives in a trailer park and his girl's trash and whatever. So he actually gets to the final. Eminem gets to the final, and he goes on first. And he gets up there and he says, "I know my mom's trash in your trailer park, and you were with my girlfriend, and I'm this, but I'm still better than you." So then the guy had nothing to say. That's the ultimate bevorn. It's the ultimate bevorn ever. So I say, okay, hold on. Are there any nations that have been around for as long as the Jewish people? Are there any other nations that have been around for as long as us?
Nations?
Yeah. Can you think of any? Anyone?
China.
Oh, China and India, good. So I often do that, by the way, in my presentation. I'll clear that. So whatever. China and India have been around. So what's so great about the Jewish people? Are we unique? Are the Jewish people unique in the fact that we've been around for 3,000 years?
No.
Absolutely not. China's been around for 10,000 years, 50,000. What are you talking about? You're not even unique. What's so great about you? Why are you so excited about that? Mazel tov. So you've been around for a long time. Your book says you're going to be around for a long time, and you were. Who cares? So our question is then, Mark Twain, why didn't Mark Twain freak out about India? Why didn't Mark Twain say, what is the secret of India's survival? Why didn't Berdyaev say, oh my goodness, according to all criterion, there should not be Chinese people anymore? Why not freaking out?
Size and
Three things. And I get people, I then engage people. So people say, they've got their own land. And they're like, exactly. Someone will say, they've got billions of people. Exactly. And other people would say, they're not persecuted and killed and all the time. So brilliant. There are 3 things in natural history that we know that are very good for survival of a nation. The number one main thing is to have your own land. Like Japan did very well. Even though they don't have a lot of people, they did very well because they got their own land and they're not attacked. So, if you have your own land and lots of people and you're not attacked the whole time, then you'd expect to survive. It would be extraordinary if you didn't survive. That's why Mark Twain and Blaise Pascal and everyone else freak about the Jewish people. Why? Because we didn't have any of the 3 main factors you need for survival. We didn't have our own homeland for 2,000 years. We were very, very few in number for 2,000 years, still are. And we constantly persecuted in every country we went to. It's the most universal, irrational, crazy hatred of it, people. So when Mark Twain says, what's the secret? And Blaise Pascal is like, we just don't understand the existence of the Jewish people. What they're saying is, of course nations can survive, but not if they don't have their own land and they're few in number and persecuted so much. That's what's weird. So how does that prove that God wrote the Torah? It doesn't. It doesn't. It just proves that there's some crazy stuff going on. But what would prove to me that a human being didn't write the Torah is if the Torah predicted those three things. Because no human being would predict those three things for three reasons. Number one, they're negative predictions. We said this yesterday, I'm just going over it. Number one, negative. People don't make negative predictions about themselves. And the whole foundation of the Torah is negative about the Jewish people. We do the golden calf and the spies, and it's just a very negative book. You're going to found your religion on the fact that God wants to kill your nation all the time and you all died in the desert because you're just idiots. It's a very bad way to start a religion. Secondly, it's very extraordinary, as we'll see with all of them. And thirdly, it's completely inconsistent with the claim of survival. You've just said, we're going to survive forever, but we're not going to have the three main factors we need for surviving. So what's the benefit? Why are you putting in it? Why would anyone think to put in my book, we're going to go into the Holy Land, and then we're going to get exiled and scattered? Why? What's the benefit of putting in that in your book? The only benefit I can think of, and you can answer this question, is that it will scare people into doing what you tell them. If you don't do what you're meant to do, you're going to get killed, and you better do what you're meant to do. So that's one thing. But then, as we're going to see, that's going to create problems with everything else. Because let's say we scare them enough that they say, we don't want to do that, so they don't do that. Then they don't get exiled. But there's a problem. If they don't get exiled, then they're not going to be few in number. And they're not going to be as persecuted. And then the Torah is just not true then. I'm putting this in the Torah but to scare you. But if you're so scared that you actually listen to me, then what I put in the Torah isn't going to happen. What's it?
Meaning it's almost predicting.
We'll go to it. I made a lose-lose situation. So very quickly. Also, very, very, very important to notice, all of the predictions are very clear. They're not vague. It's not like Nostradamus took one line from that and another line from that and said, it's not vague at all. It's not the gematria of that and this is a remiss to that. Very, very, very clear. We're eternal nation. We are going to be scattered. We're going to scatter all over. We're going to go all around the world. So how many people here were born in the same place as their grandparents? God bless you. Who were born in the same country as their grandparents?
Country.
Country as their grandparents. So that's 4 people. 4 people out of how? If I was speaking to a group of Italians, how many people would put their hand up? All of them would. If I was speaking to a group of English people, they'd all put their hand. If I was speaking to a group of Jews, very, very few people were even born where their grandparents were born. How about great-grandparents? No, you're done there at that point. We are the most scattered, crazy. That's very, very, very bad for survival. We're going to assimilate very, very quickly, which we're seeing nowadays. We're assimilating very, very quickly. So why is someone? What's the benefit? Why I'm sitting there 2,500 years ago? What do I want to put in my book? I'm going to put in my book that we're going to be exiled. Why? Why am I doing that? I don't want us to get exiled. It's very, very bad for survival. It doesn't help me. So there's no benefit to me putting in a book. So if I am going to be exiled and scattered, we said yesterday. I'm just going over what we said yesterday, and then we're going to have time for questions. Said number one. The reasons it's crazy is because exile was actually not very common. People conquered countries. They didn't exile a whole nation. The Roman Empire basically took over the whole of Europe. They didn't go into France and kick all the people out of France. They didn't come to England and kick all the people out of England. They just Romanized those places. The Greeks Hellenized people. They went into countries and they made them be like them. That's called conquer. Very rare do you have people who kick out a whole nation.
What's the motivation for exile?
For exile? To assimilate them. To get rid of them.
The motivation to exile them.
To cleanse.
Why would I want to exile a nation? Just so that I could take over their land.
You can do that and we can
Yeah,
force
I
them
don't
to
know. The
assimilate.
Greeks didn't try to exile us. This is the whole story of Hanukkah. The Greeks didn't try to exile us. That's why the Greek exile is always a funny term. Because it wasn't an exile.
It was
It
a
was
spiritual.
spiritual. We're not doing Hanukkah Torah now, but so this is a negative, extraordinary, and inconsistent with the claim of being internal. I've just put a prediction in my book that is a negative prediction. Usually humans don't make negative predictions. It's extraordinary. I wouldn't ever expect it to happen. Now, it's very dangerous to put it in your Bible, because if it doesn't happen, the second this doesn't happen, your book's false. That's it. You're done. If we go into the land of Israel and we never exiled, the book's false. Done. So you didn't benefit. You really risked your whole book for no real reason. Next one. You're going to remain few in number. If the whole of China is exiled, I'd expect them to survive because there are billions of them. And they'll just have billions of babies and they'll be okay. Why am I saying we're going to be few in number? Especially because the Torah itself says you're going to be large in numbers. You could have been as numerous as the sand on the sea and the sky and the sea and all that stuff. But you messed up. You're going to mess up. Hey guys, you're going to mess up. This is a separate question I have. But Moshe's final speech is basically, you're going to mess up. I've got to work out the leadership power of doing that. You're going to go mess up. So why is he saying this? You're going to be very, very, very few in number. We've got a few problems with this. Number one, Pru-Rebu. The first mitzvah in the Torah, Pru-Rebu, have lots of babies. So the Torah itself says, I want you to have lots of babies. You're going to be a very large nation. You're going to be a large nation. I want lots of babies. Average religious couple has 6.7 children. Average secular couple 1.2 children. We're going to have lots of babies. So an ancient nation with a high birth rate, you would expect a large population. That's what I expect naturally. So why are you saying that we're going to have a small population?
We were big relative to.
At the time, we said, I forgot to find out the exact statistic. I think we were about 10% of the Roman Empire. So we were big in that part of the world in those days. But basically, we're about 0.2% of the world population for all time. So then, we said yesterday it's mutually consistent, because if I'm exiled, I'm probably going to be hated because I'm a foreign entity, and I'm probably going to get killed, and I'm probably going to assimilate. So it's not crazy that we'll be few in number. Once again, when you're giving a presentation like that, it's very important to say things like that. Don't try and hide things, for two reasons. Firstly, they'll say it. But secondly, when you say it yourself, you're showing that I'm authentic. I'm not trying to hide anything. I also think it's internally consistent that if you're exiled, you're going to be few in number. That makes sense to me? Although, if you're exiled, and you're not hated and killed so much, and you're left in peace, then you might not be few in number. You could be very large in number. Also, since the Holocaust, there was 11 million Jews in 1945, and the world population has increased by 3.5 times, which means since the Holocaust, where there hasn't been so much persecution, there should be 39 million Jews, but there's still only 50 million Jews. So we still haven't grown. We haven't even doubled. Once again, I can explain that. There's been assimilation. 72% of American Jews marry non-Jews. That's not good for your numbers. But someone writing a book 2,000 years ago isn't projecting and putting it all together. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, we're going to see why in a second. Negative, extraordinary, consistent. Then, if there is a way to survive, if you are exiled and you're very, very few in number, there is one way that you could survive, and that's that you're really embraced by all the nations you go into. Like the Tibetan people are very embraced in India and in America and England. They're an exiled nation, so we're going to take you in, we're going to look after you, so that's very good for survival. So that could happen. So I might write in my book, we are going to be exiled, and we're going to be few in number. But seeing as we're very clever and we're very good with economy, we're actually going to do really well. We're going to help those countries, and they're all going to really love us. We're going to be very well accepted, and that's how we're going to survive. That might make sense to me. But it doesn't. It says the opposite. You're going to have the worst hatred known to mankind. Prediction number 4. Terrible, terrible, horrible hatred. And then people always ask the question, well, why would God say that? Why is God saying, if you're saying God wrote the book, why is God saying such terrible, horrible things? What's your answer to that question?
Moshe said it.
Pardon?
Moshe said it.
Moshe said what?
No, Hashem.
No, Hashem said.
Oh, are they referring to?
No, what's your answer? If someone asks you in the middle of your class, well, why would Hashem say such horrible things in his book? I thought he loves us.
He does, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't love us. It's just that he's
telling us
saying,
what's going to happen.
Anyone else?
He's saying
Yes?
it's not a fun religion. You don't want to join.
Okay.
These are conditions of what happens if we behave a certain way.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. But why is Hashem making these conditions? I'm going to tell you the answer in your class. That is a great philosophical question. It's got nothing to do with our class at the moment, because we're just working out who wrote the Torah. Come to yeshiva for 3 months and you can ask all the questions. Don't start getting into a philosophical thing about emunah and what it really means. You're not doing that class. Once again, you're going to lose the class. You've got to stay focused. Look, great question. That's the best question. I also had that question, by the way. Any question that anyone ever asked me, I always say I also had that question, even if I didn't. And that's no. I had that question. Amazing question. We'll get to it later. Not for now. I don't.
You're allowed to do that?
What?
Say
Yeah.
that you had that question.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I asked about it because do you want to know how? And then we get to. I can't tell you on camera. So I asked. There is a Gemara where Rabbi Yossi says something in the name, or someone says something in the name of Rabbi Yossi. And someone came up to him and said, Rabbi Yossi didn't say that. And he said, I know, but I knew that no one would believe me unless I said it in the name of Rabbi Yossi. So I said it because it is true.
You're allowed to do that.
Are you allowed? And you are.
You are.
And they said, you're allowed to do that. If it is true, but people won't believe you unless you said it in the name of someone, you can say it in the name of someone even if it's not true, because it is true what you're saying. But you have to be very confident and real that it is true. You can't use that. So sometimes I've said things like, should I tell you the one thing I say a lot?
Yes.
I always say my grandfather said to me that you shouldn't live a life that you regret when you get to 19. I always say that. All of my class I start with that. So it's in my book, it's everywhere. I'm not sure he said that. I don't. Now I said it I said it so much that I think he might have, and it's possible that he did. It is. He could have, but I don't really. I'd imagine he didn't. So I asked. Someone.
He didn't.
I asked someone if after saying that for a while, I asked someone if I was allowed to say it, and he gave me that Gemara. And he said, if it's going to be more powerful and impact Jews in a more powerful way, you can.
But this is different because you're saying that you had that question.
What?
Like when you tell them, I had the same question.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
That's all different, no?
Okay. Amazing. No, I'll tell you the truth. I basically haven't heard a question that I didn't have. I've never heard a question especially in Discovery in the last 10 years. No one's ever asked a question that I didn't have. Okay, so we got lots of quotes about how bad hatred of Jews are. So now basically we're 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes and you're out. If these prophecies come true, there's no natural chance of survival. Not no natural chance. It's very, 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 very unlikely. You could, but if you did, you'd be some gypsy nation. Like the gypsies are around. But very unlikely. I put something in my book that makes it so unlikely that I'm going to survive that Mark Twain and Blaise Pascal and everyone is saying this is supernatural. This is actually weird. You can't survive these things. Yeah, I said I'm going to survive, so that's already contradictory.
Isn't it weird to say that like you're going to be persecuted? Like, isn't every nation persecuted at some point?
No, I don't think the Italians have been persecuted at some point. I don't think the Spanish have. They've all had some wars and stuff.
That's how persecuted.
It's not that every single Spanish person, wherever they've ever gone in the world, has been final solutioned.
But it's not so. The quote from the Torah is not so extraordinary because that could be said about many persecuted peoples. That exact pasuk in the Torah. Yes,
I agree. I think that in itself. I think there are many. I think black people, slaves, have been persecuted. Sure. I don't think. I'm not saying it's unique. I'm saying that
it's all these factors together.
Yeah. Once we put them all together, so we'll see. For example, this is a perfect example. Gypsies. They were also killed by the Nazis. Gypsies are very much hated and not accepted into society as much. So now we move on to the next. If you're going to be a gypsy nation, if you're not going to die, you're going to be gypsies. So how much impact are you going to have on the world? Very, very, very little. The other nations who did go through the same persecution as us haven't done anything for the world. What have they done? What have they given? Very, very little.
Why does impact on the world matter again? Can you say that again?
Because the Torah predicted that we're going to be the greatest nation on the face of the planet. But that's ludicrous to say that a nation that is gypsies are going to have an impact. It's like saying the gypsies will be the greatest nation on the face of the planet. That's completely impossible. So you've said something in your book that survival itself is not impossible but very unlikely. But if you do survive, you're just hanging on like gypsies. That's what you've set it up. But then you say no, actually. You're not going to be gypsies, you're going to be the single most transformative nation who ever was on the planet. That's completely inconsistent.
What if someone says, but America's the biggest, but they say, yeah, but America was founded on Jewish values, and then you say,
Yeah.
but then they say, yeah, but America didn't do all these things because of Jewish values.
No, well,
Or America, because
Well,
it's
what-
controlled by the Jews.
firstly, America's only done anything in the last 100 years. And what percentage of American inventions and American charity in America is Jewish?
Nobel Peace Prize.
Peace, Prize, everything. We'll see. I'll make you into a great nation. It's a great key. Thank God I defended. But even your own elbow in your ribs not really nice. But if that elbow wasn't there, I'd be in hospital. He's the one in hospital.
He was trying to be Mekayim Nevuah.
Yeah, smashed him over the head with a metal bar. Right. So you're going to be the great nation. Isaiah, Yeshayahu says you're going to be a light unto the nations. We're going to be a light unto the nations. Now, explain to me, how is it possible that exiled, few in number, hated nations could be a light unto the nations? That's just it's a weird thing to say. It's literally saying gypsies will be a light unto the nations. It's not going to happen, can't happen. And yet, we see Winston Churchill. Some people like the Jews, some people do not, but no thoughtful man can doubt the fact that they're beyond all question the most formidable and most remarkable ways which is their opinion. Do you want to hear my favourite Winston Churchill story, just side point? Maybe I shouldn't tell you because you'll only remember the story or forget the whole plot. I'm going to tell it quickly, but don't do this in your presentation. You've got to stay focused. Winston Churchill was at a party and he looked like that. He wasn't the best looking man. And he went up to a blonde woman and said, would you sleep with me for £10? She was like, no, you're disgusting. He said, how about £1 million? And she was like, well, okay. He said, okay, well, how about 20 then? And she said, 20, what do you think I am? And he said, we've already established what you are. We're just discussing the price now.
Wow.
That's crazy. He actually did that?
He actually said that. A good-looking woman went up to him and said, you know what? If we had a kid with your brains and my looks, that would be amazing. And he goes, yeah, but if it had my looks and your brains.
That was him?
It's cool. I will insist the Hebrews are contributing more to civilized men than any other nation. They're the most glorious nation ever to happen to the earth. They've given religion to God to fight. Basically, all these top non-Jewish academic people are saying that we are the greatest nation. It's just a bit of proof. I'm not saying we're the greatest nation. They're saying it. Non-Jewish, not stupid non-Jews, academic leaders of nations, non-Jews, say the Jewish people have impacted the world more and more positively than any other nations, and we got lots of figures to prove that. We said in 3 ways. There's morality comes from the Torah, spirituality comes from the Torah, technology, civilizations. We usually play this video, what Israel achieved in the first 70 years of Israel. I'm not going to play it for you now because it's unavailable. Right. So I'm not saying we're the greatest nation who walk the face of the planet. Winston Churchill and John Adams and we got other quotes, say that we are the greatest people, and 22% of Nobel Prizes says quite a lot, actually. This is my favorite one. This is where it gets supernatural. The Torah we know was written 2,500 years ago, at least. I think it was 3,338 years ago. 2,000 years ago, 2,500. At the time the Torah was written and completed, the land of Israel was fertile and lush and civilized. Fertile, lush, pardon?
How do we know that?
Many ways. Firstly, just natural history. It's called the Fertile Crescent. This is in a non-Jewish history book. It's called Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, the Fertile Crescent. Everyone knows that this was a very fertile area. This picture isn't coming from like Aish.com. I went to some random thing. That's the Fertile Crescent. So we see the whole of Israel is part of the Fertile Crescent, basically because we've got the River Jordan.
Do we know what makes it fertile?
The River Jordan. Josephus writing 2,000 years ago. For the whole area is excellent for crops and pastures and rich in trees of every kind, so that it is by fertility it invites even those least inclined to work on the land. In fact, every inch of it has been cultivated by the inhabitants, not a parcel goes to waste. This is a Josephus writing 2,000 years ago, who was there, and he said, look, the land is unbelievable. It's a lush land, very easy to farm. The land is so fertile, you've got to be an idiot not to be able to grow stuff in it. And yet, when we started coming back to Israel, 1890, there's always been a few Jews. I'm going to send you an amazing article about Jewish population of Israel for 2,000 years. When we came back, 1890 was a desert. Israel, complete desert. Desert, swamp, nothing here. So how did this fertile land turn into a desert? How and when? What would make that happen? So we see in natural history that 2,000 years ago when we were exiled by the Romans, then it started its decline. And it turned into a desert from that point. So whoever wrote the Torah made a supernatural claim. This isn't a ludicrous claim. This isn't an extraordinary claim. This is a supernatural claim. It's saying that the fertile land will become infertile when we leave. That's it. It's saying exactly, not vaguely. It's saying when you are scattered, when you're exiled from the land, this very, very fertile land is now going to become infertile.
When was Josephus? He was before the destruction of the second nation?
Around after at that time, the second temple.
So he was there when we were still there.
Yeah. So devastated will I leave the land that your enemies who live there will be astonished. Your land will remain desolate, and your cities in ruins. It will remain desolate all the days you're in the land of your enemies. Well, how can you say that? Why would it? You got the Romans there. The Romans are the greatest empire on the face of the planet. Their farming they did very good farming, by the way. In England, they were great farmers. They're very good farmers. Now in Israel, you don't even need to be a good farmer. It was so easy to farm. How many Roman ruins do we have in Israel?
No.
Very few. We've got Caesarea, we've got a kind of aqueduct and that. Very little. In other places, in England, half of London is Roman ruins. So why didn't Rome have a whole nation empire
They couldn't farm.
in Israel? There's a Crusader temple, a Crusader castle in the north, in the Gulf. Nothing's happened here. Well, have you actually been to the ruins of that Ottoman city in Israel? Have you been there? No, because it doesn't exist. Nothing existed for 2,000 years here. It was a desert here for 2,000. Yes, the Ottomans were here. There were hundreds of thousands of people. There were some things happening. There was obviously some farming, otherwise everyone would die. So there were little patches of farming and they were eating their seafood, but nothing for 2,000 years. Nothing's established in this plot of land. And it's a very easy place to establish something. So it's saying that the land only responds to the Jews. That's a supernatural prediction. The land only responds to the Jews. Jews got kicked out, land stopped. Now, one thing we do know is the Romans put lots of salt on the fields to damage the land. Firstly, the person who wrote the Torah doesn't know that Romans are going to do that. And secondly, that doesn't last for 2,000 years. The land turns over, and it wasn't the whole country that was... Because I got to think of all the questions that people think of, but people say that, the Romans, they put salt. I'm like, great, so they helped the prediction come true. The guy who wrote the Torah didn't know that the Romans would put salt on the land. They'd think the Romans would probably want to build up the land.
Not necessarily. If there's such a tremendous
That's good. That's another question. People say, what if the Romans and the Ottomans, the Byzantines, didn't really care about this part of the world? It's just some backwaters, they didn't try. So there are two answers to that question. Firstly, it was their holy land. Romans and Byzantines, Ottomans are Christians and Muslims. They want this land to be very well populated. This is outside Rome. Jerusalem's going to be the biggest place outside Rome. And secondly, it's the land bridge between Africa and Asia. It's basically the center of the world. So you really want this to be well populated. This is your trade route between the whole of Africa and Asia, the land route. So you can't say that the nations who were here just didn't really care about it. They definitely cared about it very much.
And there's no natural explanation in regards to like the tides of the Jordan River as to why some years there was less flooding.
I haven't seen one, but if you can find one, when you send that to me, I'm very interested in that type of thing.
I don't know either.
Like I say, if you can look it up on ChatGPT and it says anything, let me know, send it to me. Thanks. It'll be very good for my presentation.
Nice answer.
Final one, number 7. You're going to come home. Imagine someone said, I'm just going to make up a story. There's a group of mice. And I say to you, there are 300 mice. You've got to guarantee that these 300 mice will survive forever. What are you going to do? I'm going to build them a cage. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build them a cage and I'm going to make them have lots of mice babies. And I'm going to protect them. That's what I'm going to do. So imagine I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw them all out of the cage. God bless you. And I'm going to neuter them so most of them can't have babies. And I'm going to make sure that the other mice all around the world are going to kill them as much as they can. No, dude, you got to keep the mice alive. How do you keep? Shut up. Teach here, dude. He knows he's my favorite. He knows he's my favorite. That's what I can say. I wouldn't say it to anyone else because you're not my favorite. He's my favorite. That's what you know that. Fine. So but then all these little mice are like, what? We're going to be just running around all over the world. Everyone's going to kill us all the time, and we can't have babies. No, but don't worry. Whilst that happening, you'll be the most amazing nation of mice in the world. You're going to impact the world more than any other mice anywhere on the whole face of the planet. What do you mean? How can we do that? We don't have our own country. We don't have many people, and we're being killed the whole time. No, surely, you know what? We want to be in our country. Don't worry. You're going to come back to your country. But how are we going to come back to our country? Because the other mice would have moved into our country and they'll be living there. No, don't worry. Your cage, I'll make sure that there'll be no food and water in your cage until you come back. That's what he's saying. That's a completely ludicrous thing for anyone to say. You just messed up the whole mice. No mice left. Those mice are gone. So that's why I said. That's what the Torah says. You're going to come back. Don't worry. You're going to be the only nation ever that ever came back to the land that they were exiled from. Well, you'll be the only nation who ever survived that even. So Mazel Tov, we survived that. That's already extraordinary. But to survive it and then 2,000 years later actually come back to the land in the year 1948, which 1948 is the year Abraham was born. That's cool. By the way, just thought I'd throw that in there.
The secular year, though.
A coincidence.
For the secular people to look at.
It's an amazing coincidence. But it still could have been any other year of 6 million years. Abraham was born on 1948 in the Hebrew calendar. We declared independence on 1948 in the secular calendar. You're right. It's still remarkable, I think. I don't think that proves God read the Torah. So we're going to come back. Don't worry, you're going to come back. You're going to go back to your land. Not only will you not die, but whilst you're outside your land, you'll be the greatest nation who ever walked the face of the planet. And don't worry, because your land itself is going to wait for you. No one else is going to make any civilization there. And then you're going to actually come back. It's like, dude, you're crazy. Who's writing this book? You're just psychotic. It's so weird to write this book. So go back 2,500 years ago. No human being is writing a book like that. It's a strange thing to write. That's in itself amazing, but the fact that it all happened, the fact that we were exiled and we're few in number and we hated, and yet we impacted the world, and the land actually did become desolate, and then we actually did come back. And in 1900, 0.5% of Jews lived in Israel, and in 2026, 50% of Jews live in Israel. And in 2027, when you all make Aliyah and have 6.7 children, and it will be like 59%. Prophecies are coming true, man. So now we have facts. Let's just say the fact. What's he doing? It's amazing to see what Israel has become over the last several decades. To have scratched out of rock this incredibly vibrant, incredibly successful, wealthy, and powerful country is a testament to the fact that God definitely wrote the Torah and loved the Jewish people. Like facts. We have a text at least 2,500 years old that contains 7 predictions, all of them, some negative. Humans don't make negative predictions. All extraordinary. Humans don't make extraordinary predictions. Mutually inconsistent. They don't. If you're exiled, then you'll probably be few in number and hated. So that's internally consistent, but it means you're not going to survive. And even if you do survive, you're not going to be a light unto the nations. So it's all contradicting each other. One of them is supernatural. The land can't just rest because you're not there, and it predicts a unique and supernatural future for the Jewish people. Each and every one came true. Now you have to decide based on this evidence. Let's look at it. Is this 100% evidence? I don't think so. I think we could say, now any question you're going to ask, I didn't leave time for questions, but we'll do questions tomorrow, whatever. Any question you're going to ask, because I've got to go, we've finished time, I've got to pick Binyamin up. So, any question you're going to ask, I'm going to tell you we'll do your question today now, because we have to do that. Any question you're going to ask on one of them. You're going to say something like, I know why you're a light unto the nations, because you got better DNA, or you value education more, or it makes sense that whatever you're going to say. And the answer to all of it, basically the answer to every single question that anyone is going to ask is correct. Maybe you can explain that one thing, but it's a whole picture. It's 7 things that go together. So yes, you explained that, but that still contradicts that. So no one has ever given me one refutation that takes in the whole picture. They say that I can explain that one thing naturally, I can explain that one thing naturally, I'm like Mazel Tov, but you can't explain them all together. Someone once said it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's self-fulfilling. You really think about who wants to self-fulfill the Holocaust and you can't self-fulfill the land being desolate. Fine. Final question. It's on the sheet. Aren't some of these predictions from this? Oh, you got it. Look at the bottom. So then you got to. This is the best question. It is the best question. Some of these predictions seem conditional. If you don't listen to me, then you'll be exiled. If you don't do this, then you will be persecuted. And if you do, you won't. If you listen to me, you'll get all the brachas and you'll be fine. If you don't listen to me, you'll be persecuted. So they're not even predictions.
He's not giving us a choice.
Yeah, so I can kind of get out of it. If it doesn't happen, if I'm not exiled, I'll say that's because we did the right thing. So the prediction is not even a prediction, it's a condition. If you do the wrong thing, you get exiled. So let's say we're never exiled, I'll say, okay, so we didn't do anything wrong then. That's the question. So this is the answer to that question, is in Devarim 31, 16 to 18. Some of these things are given across in the Torah as conditional. But the Torah itself then concludes and say, it is going to happen. And the Lord said to Moses, behold, you're about to lie with your fathers, and this nation will rise up and stray after the deities of nations of other land into which are coming. And they will forsake me and violate my covenant which I made with them. And my fury will rage against them on that day, and I will abandon them and hide my face from them. And they will be consumed, and many evil troubles will befall them, and they will say on that day, and I will hide my face. So yes, although some of them, when they're first presented, are conditional, the Torah is saying it's not conditional, it's going to happen. Now, then someone's going to ask the question, where's our free will then? If the Torah says it's going to happen, where's our free will? We had no chance of not serving a Avodah Zarah.
That's conditional itself. What are you saying? What are you saying is conditional? No.
No, it's saying it's going to happen. The Torah says you are going to mess up. You are going to be everything bad is going to happen. So someone's going to ask a question. Where's free will? What's your answer to that question?
You still have free will. It's not contradicting. It's not contradicting.
Your answer to that question is that's an unbelievable question. Come to yeshiva for 3 minutes.
Yeah. But what's the actual
Don't get into that question here. It's got nothing to do with discovery.
The actual answer is not contradicting. Right?
No, I'm not getting into the answer now.
What if someone asks that question and they spin it to make it relevant to the
They can't. I'd spin it to make it not. I said that's not relevant to the question. You're asking a philosophical question about God and free will.
So you have to.
I'm giving evidence that God read the Torah. You're asking a philosophical question about
the
where's
only
free
time you
will.
spend on is how it's not evidence.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with God. Hey,
Go
bye. You finished?
Anyone can ask.